Welcome to episode 4 of the Showroom, here with Gavin McGrath, general manager of Pat McGrath Chevyland. Excited to talk about this week's vehicle, the 2025 Chevy Trailblazer. Another one that's actually really nostalgic to me. I drove a Trailblazer in high school. This is a totally different vehicle than the old school Trailblazer, which was from 02 to 09. They took some time off, about 12 years to be exact, and then brought back the Trailblazer in 2021 in the what I would call, and Edmunds calls, and many of these third-party companies call, the extra small crossover SUV segment. Super awesome vehicle, I will say. I drove this thing last night, drove my son to school in it this morning, took it up on highway speeds. Awesome vehicle. The number 1 ranked extra small SUV by Edmunds, which is a huge accomplishment because there are a lot of vehicles in that segment. My personal story about the Trailblazer, as I mentioned, the old Trailblazer came out in like 02. So I was on a school permit, and I was driving this 2002, I don't remember exactly, Chevy Trailblazer, okay? And the school permit allowed you to drive to school and back. I think it's the same these days, to school and back, and then I think you could go get gas. Well, I'm with a couple buddies. We go to get gas from my Trailblazer, and we also stop at Burger King on Offernett Road, which Burger King was outstanding, still is. The Whopper is tough to beat. And as I'm driving back home, I get caught for speeding because there's a buddy of mine that was taking another route, and we got to race each other. Anyway, I'm the one that gets pulled over. Cop comes up, I give him my ID, and I tell him I'm on a school permit. Well, this guy, all he heard was permit. So he kind of freaks out because he thinks I'm driving around in my permit like a 14-year-old. I wasn't. I think I was 15 and a half or whatever at the time. I don't remember. I get pulled. He calls my parents and he says, "I've got your son here. He shouldn't be driving this." And I was only about a half a mile from home. So my mom, being the person that she is and was, she shows up and is like, "Officer, what's the big deal?" Like he was getting gas. No, he's on a permit. It just was this total miscommunication. He thought I was on my just permit. I had my school permit. So, and then, of course, I also was driving illegally because we stopped at Burger King, which you can't do with a school permit. You just have to go to school and back or get gas. My mom had my back. I think I still got a citation. I don't remember exactly, but she showed up and, we had a conversation, ended up kind of being a laughter thing, and got out of getting in too big of trouble. But that Trailblazer and I have many memories because I drove a Trailblazer basically all through high school. And so when it came back, I was super, super pumped. Now that Trailblazer was a gas-guzzling, bigger SUV that was discontinued in 2009, probably because of all the new EPA requirements that came out during that time. I mean, that thing was low teens for gas mileage, especially the SS. I think the SS that had the 5.3 was under 10 miles to the gallon. So this is a total redesign, a total different vehicle, starting at $23,100 for the LS front-wheel drive. All right, that has the 1.2 liter, which is E85 compatible. They also offer the 1.3 liter on all the trim levels, which is nice. About 20 more horsepower on the 1.3, a little less mile per gallon on the all-wheel drive, which gets you 26 in town, 29 on the highway for a 27 combined. The front-wheel drive delivers 30 and 31 for a combined 30, which is outstanding for the SUV segment. The standard options are probably the coolest part about the Trailblazer. I'm bucketing into 3 categories. You have the safety, infotainment, and functionality. The standard options on that 23.1 LS front-wheel drive: auto emergency braking, front forward collision alert, front pedestrian braking, following distance indicator, lane keep assist with lane departure warning, and the IntelliBeam auto high beam. All right, so automatically it'll go to high beam if there's no cars coming, and it'll shut down if it senses a car coming, right? So you're not blinding people. Infotainment, 11.1-inch diagonal HD touchscreen. thing is huge for the size of vehicle this is. Voice command pass through the phone. So this is where you got your Android Auto or Apple CarPlay connected. You can talk to it and text people with voice command, which is awesome. You can Google search things. All right, I get into these things with my kids, like we get into arguments about fantasy football. This person went to that college. I'm like, no, they didn't. They went to this college, and then we Google and ask, and they give me the right answer, and I'm always right. As I mentioned, wireless CarPlay, Android Auto. Functionality, keyless ignition, rear camera. It has 4 trim levels, guys. The LS, as we mentioned, the LT, which is what I drove home last night. Great options, active, and the RS. The competitors, as I mentioned, in the extra small SUV class, the crossover, we got Mazda CX-30, Buick Encore GX, the Chevy Trax, which we talked about in episode 1, Hyundai Kona, and Kia Soul. This is the number one. There are many others. This is the number one vehicle ranked by Edmunds. My overall review, breaking it down into our 3 categories, keeping it simple, how I would view going and buying a vehicle, how I view driving vehicles, is first and foremost, how does it feel, right? I've got an 8.3 there. Surprisingly crisp and noise resistant. It's pretty quiet. Sometimes you get in these smaller, affordable SUVs, you can get a lot of wind noise. It can feel a little tin can-ish. I was actually really pleasantly surprised with this. How does it look? 8.0. I'm dinging it for the roof. I think the white painted roof, which we'll look at here in a second, can grow on me, but first blush, I don't like it. The iridescent pearl, if you get that, that's painted to match. But if you do any of the other colors, it has that white painted roof, and the rest of the body is the color of the vehicle. As far as like the curviness, the lines, the interior, how that looks, I think it looks great. But I'm giving it an 8.0. And then how much is it? We'll get into the lease here in a little bit. But for a mid-20s, for an all-wheel drive vehicle, 9.0. That's a ton of vehicle for the money, okay? So let's take a look here at the one that I drew the lease up on. Just give you a little visual. This one is a color that's called cactus green, which is interesting. I think it's kind of cool. I'm sure it's a polarizing color. So we're going to pull up this cactus green Trailblazer that we have in stocks. Great vehicle. All right. Love it. Really good looking. Good space in the back for the size. Here's our touchscreen, that 11.1 inch diagonal, the length of the diagonal measurement. Outstanding. Okay. You got your steering wheel controls, easy shift. This one has the power seats, has the voice command right there on the steering wheel, has the adaptive cruise control on this LT model, heated steering wheel. I mean, that's only for 28 grand, all these options. Really, really approachable price point. I just think as far as ease of getting in and out, again, very versatile that way, right? I can get in and out easily. I'm sure folks that maybe have a tougher time getting in and out of cars, really easy to do. It seems to be a great high school, college car, great car for somebody maybe with 1 or 2 kids, because you got the space in the second row, space to put a smaller stroller and behind the second row. Just a very versatile vehicle, and get a lot of bang for the buck. From a leasing standpoint, we'll talk leases every week because I think it's a really cool way to drive a vehicle. This vehicle's MSRP, as I mentioned, is $28,080. If you have currently a GM lease, or if you're leasing a non-GM vehicle, you get a $1,500 additional rebate. The residual at 39 months at 10,000 miles per year is 53%, so that value is $14,882. Right? Money factor 826 with A tier through GM Financial for a total payment of $398 with $1,500 down. Really, really a nice payment for a vehicle with all those options and only $28,000. So I would highly recommend you consider that. As I mentioned, if you're looking at this segment, the CX-30 for Mazda, the Buick Encore GX, Chevy Trax, Hyundai Kona, and Kia Soul. Little insight on how we would think about stocking this. The way I think about our Chevy store in Cedar Rapids is we can be doing about 7 of these a month. Right now, we have 6 on the ground, 3 coming, and then 19 that are in system being built as we speak. All right, so if I go to this column here, or this row rather, plus 2 that need ordered. So we have 30 total available. My goal is 28 total available, so we're right there. This is a vehicle that's built in South Korea, similar to the Trax. So if you recall from that episode, we try to stock up a little more on that because it takes a while to get over here. So we actually think about a 4-month supply of that vehicle, not 3 like the ones made stateside. So 4-month supply, 28 is the stocking level we have. We're currently only doing 4.33 a month on a 90-day. It's a growth vehicle for us. We have not had the inventory to get our volume going, but it's a big focus for us. One of those turn and earn units that when we get, we need to sell, and we'll earn more. We earned 2 actually this week. So 28 is the stocking level. That's a 4-month supply based on our goal. We're predicting 7 a month. And that's where we're at right now. We're sitting actually at 30, as I mentioned. In fact, 2 of those still need to be ordered. So we're kind of right exactly where we need to be. It's a great opportunity for us to grow a specific segment and take some market share from some competitors in this area. So really, really great vehicle. I would certainly recommend, if you're looking in that crossover segment, take it for a drive, take a look at it, and as well as those competitors, a great way to look at it. Thanks so much for your time today on episode 4 of the Showroom. We'll see you next time.